Hey everyone, I'm Ralph Nervous.
Jay Antonio.
Adrian Lopez.
You're watching Raising Awareness Now. It's the second show under the Monavision Network. The first show, of course, Monavision Live, Thursday nights, 8 to 10 p.m. If you'd like to be a guest on that show, always hit up monavisionlive@gmail.com. If you want to be a guest on this show, Raising Awareness Now, let us know. If we want to hear your stories, we want any input that you could give to possibly save a life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you're feeling in despair or you're feeling depressed, feel free to call the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255 if you need to talk to somebody. That is, of course, the main topic tonight on Raising Awareness Now is suicide.
For the month, we're gathering stories on suicide, and we'll move on to another topic for the next month. And so anything you want to raise awareness about, feel free to contact us.
Yeah. It's an important cause, and just to let you know, we're not any of us here licensed therapists. We're just normal guys talking about our experiences and experiences that other people may have, such as Adrian. He's had some experience with some of the causes that lead up to suicide. And one of those major causes is, of course, depression. There's a number of different depressive disorders. Just to name a few, there's major depression. What that is there's severe symptoms that interfere with your ability to work, sleep, study, enjoy life, a general blue feeling overall, kind of having the blues all day long, feeling really down. There's also persistent depressive disorder, which is a mood that lasts for 2 years, a depressed mood that lasts for 2 years. A person diagnosed with this might have episodes of major depression along with episodes that are not as severe. We also have psychotic depression, which occurs when a person has a severe depression plus some form of psychosis, such as having disturbing false beliefs, or they have a break with reality. They become a little bit delusional, or they're hearing or seeing upsetting things that others cannot hear or see, hallucinations. And then, of course, there's seasonal affective disorder, also known as
sad. Which is funny. Yeah. That's what you are.
Yeah, you get sad. You get sad. But the reason why you get sad is because of the winter months. This particular disorder happens when there's just not enough natural sunlight getting to you, and it generally will lift during spring and summer. So you want to avoid places probably like Seattle or England or anywhere like that.
Anywhere gloomy. Well, what I want to say is reading these four, if you could scroll down, but reading these four things, the different from psychotic and the other one we're talking about at the top, you're raising awareness to me now. You know, you did that research on this part and you read it, but we're all learning, you know, and we could make some sense out of ourselves just from these, you know. I don't want to say we're all choose one, but we definitely, who would have known if you're living in Seattle and it's gloomy that and you don't know about SAD, then you're not going to know to get help.
That's right. You're
just going to go to drugs or feel hopeless or nothing. Maybe they try all these different types of drugs.
See, and it never works. Self-medication is always an option. That's the thing. It's not a good option, but the problem is when you don't know what's wrong with you because it's in the way you're thinking or in the way you perceive something, you're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to spin tires until you realize this is something more than that. You know, and a lot of people don't see it, and a lot of people refuse to see it because it's a scary step to go from I'm like everybody else, I'm normal, and holy shit, there's something wrong. You know what I mean? That's a big step. And that's just something that happens that affects people with a mental illness, and especially an undiagnosed mental illness, which is way, way worse.
What I was going to say was, and possibly the funding. How are you going to get these pills? Well, how are you even going to go to a doctor in the first place if maybe someone doesn't have enough money? You know, so I'm sure there's a lot of those people like that.
Thankfully, here in California, we have the Mental Health Act of California, which means that if you go into a mental health facility and they evaluate you and they find you with a mental disorder and you cannot provide for yourself mental health coverage, they will let you onto a public assisted program where you don't pay any money. You go in, you talk to a psychiatrist, you join groups. It's going to be very little time with the psychiatrist, but the doctor you will see will provide you medications, and the groups are there for you to work by yourself, to help you work with other people, to work on yourself. So those are all free. You know, we have the Mesa Clinic right here in Rialto, off of Foothill.
Foothill and what?
Shoot.
But we'll get the information. He's definitely going to pass on the information to, and we'll put it on our wall. And
that's valuable information that you're providing right there, because there's people out there that may be watching this show that may not have known about that. Kind of going back to what we were talking about, the depression, you actually have a few of these disorders.
I'm bipolar 1, explosive schizotypal. What that means is that I have a mood disorder, and I also show symptoms of schizophrenia. Now, I'd like to put this disclaimer out. I am not nuts, because I take a lot of frickin' medicine to just stuff it down like hate. You know what I mean?
I understand.
That's what. So I feel really, really comfortable in talking about this now because I am stable. And I think when people who go from no mental illness to finding out they do have something, that's going to be a slope that if you take it with just that much weight to it, you'll be fine. Just relax. It'll all work itself out, and you'll feel better in the end.
Post or pre-medication, what were some of the things that you were experiencing?
I did have breaks from reality. In a depressed mood, I have become very delusional. I've seen things and heard things that did not exist. So I, in a depressive state, broke down into a world of my own, and it was just hate. Can we cuss on this thing or no?
It's up to you.
The world of hate and shit. I'm going to try to keep it to a minimum, but I need these words to explain to you.
Yeah, it's serious, bro.
Yeah.
It's real life.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. There's no mannerisms when you're in a depressed state.
No, absolutely not. You may go from just, oh man, I don't feel like, hanging out with friends, and I don't want to do this, and just things that you like to do that you're like, no, I don't want to do that. It just seems like it's going to take away time that I don't want to use. And that's a big precursor. That's a good way to know something may be wrong. If that lasts, because it happens to everybody from time to time. You get that feeling. But if it lasts for more than, I'd say, a month, that you may want to go and speak to a healthcare professional and be like, look, I'm feeling this kind of way, and I'm not sure what to do. And you could go to your regular doctor, and they'll refer you to, a hospital or like Mesa or anything like that to get you help, because mental health is a big deal. I mean, you've seen in the news, I'm sure, all the wonderful people that have been shot dead because they're just a little bit messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know it's not fair to make light of it, but that's the thing. If you don't make light of it, if I don't joke about it, it's going to hurt me inside. And being someone with mental health issues, I don't want to hurt myself. You know what I mean? So I just kind of work through things like that.
Yeah.
But
and so we see that you were talking about having some breaks with reality. Maybe not wanting to hang out with friends, just going into a dark place. That goes into kind of what we were going to talk about here, which are signs that you are depressed. Some of those signs are persistent sadness, anxiety, a feeling of emptiness, feeling of hopelessness or pessimism, feeling of guilt, worthlessness or helplessness, irritability, restlessness, loss of interest in activities or hobbies that you once found pleasurable, including sex, fatigue and decreased energy, difficulty concentrating, remembering details, making decisions, insomnia, early morning wakefulness, excessive sleeping, overeating or appetite loss, and then of course thoughts of suicide, suicide attempts, aches or pains, headaches, cramps, digestive problems that do not ease with any form of treatment. Of these, you've probably experienced them all.
yeah, pretty much.
But let's pick out the ones. Let's see if we've all felt that. When you're going down the list,
I promise you've all felt this.
yeah,
at some point in your life.
it is it's natural as human to have those emotions, and it's awesome that we have that spectrum of feelings and emotions we have. It's not awesome we have that, but it's there, and I'm awesome that these signs are there for everyone.
Look, can I throw
Yeah.
something out? I've seen other people with my disorder, and they don't think of it as a curse. There are some people out there who, there was a man I remember watching. He said, "I can't be afraid of the devil when I've walked with angels." And what he meant by that is he hallucinated that there was angels leading him to the path to heaven, and he walked out in front of a street, and a truck came and plowed him, and he was in the hospital, and he hasn't had a break since because he's been well medicated, but he literally was not afraid because of what he saw.
We're talking about a stigma, and there's a lot of stigmas in this world, and we're really all judgy, for whatever reason. And I'm meeting a lot of people lately, and what do they do with the stigma? We have to live with the stigma. We have to live with our mistakes, or these are not even mistakes, but some of that depression is caused by our own selfishness. It's not all just mental disorder. Some of us is just dummies. You know what I'm saying? And getting too much on their plate.
Oh no, definitely. Stress will bring out, it'll bring out a bad head in you. Absolutely, I agree with you 100% there.
Now, near the end of the list here, I talked about thoughts of suicide. Have you had those thoughts?
I've been in and out of hospitals maybe about 4 years, and I've been in for ideation 4 times and attempt 3. So I have in the last 4 years that they know of, I've attempted at least 3 times to kill myself.
Now, when you get to that point of suicide, can you kind of talk us what's going on?
Well, I can kind of get you through what's happened to me. The best one that I can remember, the best one. That's a bad way to put that in it. The best one of the worst time of my life. Okay. Well, okay. I was severely depressed. I was also super aggressive because sometimes when you're depressed, I'm sure you've been to the point where you're really upset, but you lash out at people, like trying to get the emotion out on someone else, and just kind of being mean and loud and rude and stuff like that. So I was in that state, and I had decided I was going to kill myself. And every time you do it, I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, it's the coward's way." Yeah, it takes a lot of balls to kill someone, and then when it's you who's going to kill you, and it's going to sting because you got to really think about it and push down or whatever you have to do, yeah, it makes a big difference. You got balls to try to do that, but it's the wrong way to do it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's a heroic thing because that's retarded, but I am saying that you don't think, oh, you know what, today's the day I'm going to just blow my head off. No, you don't do that. You go through months and months of agony, just, I can't take it, but I don't want to die. I want to be here for my family, everything else. And your mind is racing every day until finally you just stop, it gets quiet, and you take a handful of pills. Or you just start drinking and trying to get just blasted. Just trying to drive it all the way to the point where you're going to die.
And are those some of the ways that you attempted?
Okay. This is going to sound funny, but my favorite is overdose or CO2. Like I try to suffocate myself with CO2, like the exhaust from a car.
Yeah.
So close the garage. You know what? I'm not going to tell you how to do it. That's not a good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, those have been my primaries for a long time. A long time ago, I did try that, but that's horrible. And please never ever do that because it's the worst thing you can ever do. And it'll leave marks, and that's a reminder every day that you were weak at one point, and you were going to make the hardest decision of your life. You know what I mean? And that's not a reminder you ever want. But no.
And once you've attempted this and it's been unsuccessful, are you relieved? Are you
there's kind of there's an odd thing. When you get to the point where you drive yourself into that beyond ideation, beyond thinking about it, to the point where you act on it, when you wake up, there is a moment of, oh, and then, oh. You know what I mean? Like, great, I'm alive, and then, oh, I didn't die.
Okay.
Like you're upset. Like you lost your kitty cat or something. Oh,
One thing is that, Phil, maybe you put yourself through that. I don't want to say embarrassment, but you know that you made a dramatic scene, and you didn't get out of it.
Well, see, here's the thing: the drama that goes into it is because of you're taking a life. That's something that every person ever has known is a bad thing, whether they do it or not. The thing is, everybody knows to kill someone is a horrible thing because you're depriving them of a wonderful thing that is life. The problem with suicide is that the person that's trying to take that away from you is you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And depression is that it's that horrible tug and pull back and forth. You know, and there's just. It's just a terrible thing. It really, really is. You know, but.
And then when you wake up and you have that feeling of like, oh, and then oh, where do you go from there? I mean, from that point forward.
It depends on your mood, on your point of view at that point. Mm-hmm. If you have the support, or you have the wherewithal to get back up and say, you know what, I was a low point. It was a bad choice. I made it out. Let's try to move forward. Mm-hmm. You can have that very, very much, and I'll be very honest. I'm very thankful that that's the way it worked for me as well. Mm-hmm. So, the first time I learned my lesson, and then I forgot my lesson, mm-hmm. and I did it a couple more times. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes when you're stupid, you got to keep hitting the wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
do you believe that alcohol will intense? Well, it's going to battle the medications, so we definitely don't drink while.
I do not drink. I do not drink at all.
And that's something to be aware about. If you are taking meds and you try to mix it up and dabble on things, it's going to cause an imbalance.
Absolutely. It's a psychoactive drug. That's everything that you're taking is a psychoactive drug.
And that's where we go into the treatments for this depression or these thoughts of suicide. Some of those are antidepressants. Psychotherapy is another way. There's two different types of therapies that you can go to. One is called cognitive behavioral therapy and interpersonal therapy as well. Those have been found effective in treating depression. The cognitive behavioral therapy, what that does, it helps people with depression restructure negative thought patterns. And by doing so, it helps people interpret their environment and their interactions with others in a positive and realistic way. Two key words, positive and realistic. I think a lot of the times when you might think about your depression, the thoughts are exaggerated. They're
unrealistic.
They're unrealistic.
Absolutely.
And negative.
Well, that's the thing. Your mind will take you to extremes, whether you know it or not. Mm-hmm. For example, what's your favorite ice cream?
Pistachio nut.
Pistachio. Do you love pistachio?
Yes, pistachio nut. I love it. Yes.
Love is an extreme, isn't it?
Yes, it is an extreme.
What's your least favorite smell?
My least favorite smell. He says farts.
Okay. My least favorite smell is Chihuahua. I hate Chihuahuas. I hate them. They're terrible little animals. They were bred for food, and they should go back to it.
So Peter's not watching.
Hey, they're food. That's different. That's different. That's why we can have cows and stuff. But see, even then, that's what I'm talking about. That ability to break out, and that's where I'm very thankful that I am a comic and I was able to work out, not by myself, but pretty close. I try to do it on my own, and I was able to come back every single time. And thankfully, like we were talking about the medications, I've gone through a laundry list of medications. My medication is still changing even today, and I do mean that literally. I just picked up a new medicine to replace one that wasn't fitting my needs. And that's the thing. It's taken 2 years to get me where I am stable. I am able to hold a job. I'm not afraid of going out in public, or I'm not afraid of losing my composure in a public space. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's 2 years. There was 2 years of my life where I hid it away. The only thing I would do is leave my house to perform comedy quickly and then back to my house. I was never out of the house more than half an hour.
Oh wow.
For 2 years I did that. That's how I worked. That was my life. Just go do that, come back. Go do that, come back. And the only reason I went and did that is because it was the only break from the depression that I had. You know,
Along with the medications, are you pursuing any type of therapy? Or?
absolutely. Just medication alone is never going to be enough. If you think that's what it is, like you're gonna get away with not talking to anybody, you're silly and stop. Okay.
Yeah.
You definitely have to figure it out.
Absolutely.
You definitely have to have that self-awareness to ever succeed in anything.
That self-awareness, though, is what should drive you to talk to someone. Even if it's not a professional, have someone, a confidant, anything you want. Someone that can be an ear for you. And then they can kind of give you, well, if it was me, you know what I mean? That's the best give and take you can have in a situation like this where, you know what, and like you were talking about stigma. People with a mental illness, and if you have depression, that is a mental illness. It's not an ouchie or a boo-boo. That's what it is. Don't be afraid of it. Just because it's what you have, guess what? It's just like being sick in the hospital. You got, I don't know, you got MRSA and you're going to die or something, or your body's going to rot away. If you live, will you be happy? Knowing that you still have MRSA for the rest of your life, but you're alive? You see what I mean? Again, extremes, I know, but that's what I work in. You know?
And that's what life is too. There's always something randomly happening to someone at all time that's going to trigger. Can we scroll back to the symptoms again? I don't want to go lightly, you know.
Oh no, absolutely not.
About these are some really clues. Always they said from overeating, irritability. I know
I've been depressed a lot, huh? Overeating.
I know insomnia is one of them that I always deal with. It's like I want sleep, and I'm just like my mind's going, and for years I couldn't. I got maybe 1 hour sleep or something, like 2 hours sleep, and it sucked.
Yeah,
it sucked. And now in turn you'll maybe see things. You know what I'm saying? Your mind and your body's tired, you know, and
everything's got a tracer, and
yeah, man. So, but those are some of the symptoms.
Yeah, no, I've experienced insomnia myself. Even the feelings of hopelessness and pessimism. I don't always look at things on the bright side, if you will.
Sure.
And I've even myself sought out therapy to kind of help change my way of thinking.
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. How about you, bro?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna cover some of my story on the last episode.
Okay.
This is the second one, 2 of 4. Yeah, for sure, the depression is real. Thoughts of suicide is real. You mix that with the mental disorder, and it for whatever reason, there was a lot. And to briefly talk about that, the vets possibly developed the mental disorders from some of the combat they've been through, or chemicals.
Absolutely. I have a friend. Her brother was in Afghanistan. He did I believe 2 tours. He was medically released because he developed seizures. He developed epilepsy, which he's never had before, or at least was never diagnosed before, until he came back the second time and then fell to the floor shaking.
But that's it's not like new to.
No,
for all it's been forever. They've been coming back like that.
But I believe that the stress is what triggered it, because you have there's late onset everything. There's also early onset. You know, where you're this 3-year-old is depressed all the time. I've seen 10-year-olds and 8-year-olds in hospitals because those wings have to be separated, but they all can be on the same lot, right? So let's say left is the children's ward, then male, then female, right? Mm-hmm. You will meet each other sort of in passing. You'll see their faces, and you'll see kids, little kids. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter how old or young you are,
or what you've been through.
Oh no, absolutely not. But stress, in my experience, when you have a lot of stress and you start feeling sick at the same time, like a cold, you know what I mean? And you're like achy and you're tired and you know all that stuff that comes with having a cold. If that lasts for a month and you don't seem to sniffle or you know any of that stuff that usually tells you it's a cold, other than that, go see a doctor.
I think it's a weakened immune system, right?
Yeah, it'll tear you apart inside and out. That's the thing. One thing will definitely affect everything else, just like everything else. You know, one pin gets knocked over, they all get knocked over.
So if you're experiencing any of those symptoms that we've just talked about right now, be sure to call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK. That's the suicide prevention hotline, where you can go and you can talk about some of these feelings that you're having, especially feelings of emptiness or hopelessness. Now, really what we want to do is talk about, we've talked about the treatments, we've talked about the signs, but what's of utmost importance is really breaking through lost hope or not having a purpose, breaking through those thoughts of depression. First off, hope is having that optimistic attitude. It's knowing that when you wake up the next day that you're going to have a purpose, something to look forward to. And it keeps you in the positive, and it gives you confidence on the inside. And for you, when did that come?
That came. It came recently. I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my problem, like I said, is covered with medication. The other half of it is talking to a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, I am very lucky in the fact that I feel very comfortable with my therapist and have made progress relatively quickly with that. But the thing is that it's an ongoing process. Mm-hmm. You have to talk things out. You have to learn after you start talking your way out, you know, like it's like having an Indian guru, you know what I mean? The last step is that you don't need them anymore. You know what I'm saying? That's the magic trick, and that's what a therapist tries to get you to too. You know, they don't want to see you every week either. They don't like you. I'm just kidding. They probably do. They're really, really nice people. Plug for therapists. But
it's true, dude. There could be therapists. I've had therapists before because I'm always trying to solve things. I'm actually like to solve things. It's called evolution. You know, I'm really into that. But there's some people that take that job for the dollar. They take it, but and I encourage you to switch doctors if you feel you're not getting the right treatment. If you can tell they're not really into you, definitely switch.
Like I said, I got lucky. I like my therapist. If you don't like them, you don't need them. You'll find someone who will care.
Yeah.
Someone that wants to help you. If they're there for a check, you don't have to put up with them being shitty to you. That's not what they're there for. They're there to help you attain a brighter outlook, not bring you down. You know what I mean? So if you're getting a negative reaction, you don't need that. Go find someone else.
Yeah. Because really, you're there to get help, and you want them to use their profession, the years that they spend in college, to help you understand yourself and understand or become more aware of the things that are going on. So getting out of that depression, it takes small steps. These aren't huge leaps either.
If your therapist is Richard Dreyfuss and your name is Bob, maybe you guys don't hang out so much. I don't know why I had to get that out so bad. I just thought of What About Bob and that sailing. You remember when he's on, I'm sailing, and he's taped to the pole? That is a great way to beat depression. I'm going to start tying myself to poles. That sounds like a blast.
That sounds good. And why don't we just all go do that right now?
Well, it's nighttime. We might get hurt. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's small steps toward recovery. Don't expect that, you go to one session of therapist and before you know it, that right as soon as you are done with that half-hour session, you walk out and it's like, oh, I'm healed. That's just not how it works. You're working through years and years of unresolved issues, basically background in your subconscious mind that has been stuff that's been going on that you may not even know has been going on. So the first step, I guess, if you notice these signs, would be to go get help, talk to someone, and that would, for you, when you realize, okay, I need help, did you go talk to somebody, or how did it work out for you?
Here's the thing: when I felt that I was no longer in control of the situation, I went and got help from the mental health facility. And right here in Colton, the Arrowhead Medical Regional Center, they have a wonderful psych ward, and they're really nice there. I'll be honest. And they when I first went in, they ask you, okay, what's wrong, right? You tell them, well, this is how I feel, and I don't know how to fix it. Do you feel as though you would be a threat to yourself or someone else? That's the next question they'll ask. Think about that question honestly. Don't just say, oh yeah, no. Just think about it, because what you're talking about when you say I want to voluntarily intern myself to a hospital for help, that is the first step to finding out that you may not have an experience that will help you in any way in that place. Because if you're just reasonably sad and it does feel like a depression and you haven't really thought of suicide, but you just say offhandedly yes, you're going to miss the point of that hospital stay. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, when I went in, I knew where I was and what I was doing. So I turned myself in voluntarily. What a voluntary turnover means is that you are going to stay a minimum of 3 days. No, but a maximum of 7. Okay? So 3 to 7 days, that is your window of when you're going to leave. When you're in the hospital, a lot of what they do is taking away extrasensory things. So TV is very limited. Outdoor time, you get about an hour every 3 hours. So it's like being in jail, kind of, but really, really nice jail, but you still might get stabbed because of some of the people you're with.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the other thing you have to think about. It's not just you who's in trouble. When you go into a hospital, there are hundreds of other patients, right? Mm-hmm. When you go to a regular hospital, same thing in a psych ward, and you don't know who's got what or how bad it is. So if you just go for it, go in and say, yeah, I think I'm going to kill myself, and you don't mean it, and you're just kind of looking for attention, what you're going to end up with is 3 really, really boring days where you have the potential of being really, really hurt by someone who doesn't know they're hurting you. So, yeah. you know what I'm saying? So, when I went in, I knew what I had to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, the 3 days that I spent there were very cathartic for me. I sat through sessions in therapy because they do offer that every day. You don't have to go. You can spend your days just milling around for, the 18 hours you're awake or whatever. Mm-hmm. You can do that. That's your prerogative. But if you're planning on getting better, go to group. Mm-hmm. Talk to people. Other people are having similar experiences that aren't in psychotic breaks. Mm-hmm. You can talk to those people and maybe gain something from where they are. Maybe they've been there before. Maybe they're people that of every age, from 17-year-old kids, because the psych ward you can be 17 because they're always separated and always watched. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're looking for suicide. That's what those hospitals are meant to fix. Mm-hmm.
So and then you're seeking that treatment when you go into that hospital and that psych ward, and we want to let you know that this is an honest, open topic. Absolutely. It's raw. There's nothing wrong with having been in a mental hospital.
Absolutely
or
not.
Going to one, because you're there for help. And we live in a day and age where stress is high, and depression is high, and suicides are high. And that's why we're talking about it. We're raising awareness about it. And so that's definitely a step to take, is seeking that treatment. Mm-hmm. And when that kind of leads me to that third step, which kind of goes along with entering into that facility, and I put looking in the mirror.
Right.
To me, looking in the mirror is, looking at that internal person and who you are and who you want to be, and becoming aware of the thoughts and behaviors that may be negative, becoming aware of where your thought processes take you. At the end of the day, if they take you to that place where it's dark, or if they take you to a place where you want to hurt yourself or hurt somebody else, look. You have to look in that mirror, and that's what you did at this facility.
Yeah, and see, like I said before, I've been in and out for a while. I've at least 7 stays that I can really remember. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Every time is a new situation. Don't think about lumping it all together. Mm-hmm. Okay? When you go into a hospital, go in for the problem you have, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. don't worry about the future so much. It's if it happens again, you go back, you redo it. It's fine. Start over.
As long as you don't never wake up.
Absolutely, just keep trying. You know, that's the thing. Suicide is what happens when you stop trying, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when you stop trying that way. Don't give up just because of that. That's silly. There's always a way to beat the game. You know what I mean? I watched Tron. You know it. You know what I mean? Sorry.
Beat the game.
Sorry, that was more for me. I'm sorry, guys.
But we're not making lightly of the topic.
Absolutely not.
But we know, like, for example, the sense of humor does get you through difficult things. You know,
See, and that's the other thing. Find things that'll bring it out of you. You know what I mean?
make you laugh. Again.
Absolutely. You know, like I'm a comedian, like I said, right? It makes me happy to make other people laugh. When I was telling you, you know, that's what I would do. I would leave my house, go do that, come home. So I'd go do that, make myself feel better by making people laugh, and then come home and just shy away. You know what I mean? And so that was my happy pill. That's what stopped me from a lot of bad attitude and a lot of bad situations.
I believe right there is where it's accomplishments up on the top. That hope kept you there. I really believe that. I just want to share my experience about being a musician that it really helped me out of depression, man. I grew up very, very insecure, wasn't nervous habit or rough nervous for any reasons. I was very terrified and felt like I really shouldn't exist. That was normal to me. I wasn't sad about it, but I was just insecure. But when you grow up to be a man, you know, and then you don't have the right tools because you're scared or you can't battle things. You want to give up, man.
Absolutely.
But through music and I believe faith and all these kind of things, it brought me confidence, bro.
See, that's what I'm saying. You gotta find your key for the lock. The lock is the problem. Find the thing that's gonna dig you out. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to try.
And for you, that was comedy.
Absolutely.
And
For
and
me,
artistry too. Do you believe?
That's right. You know, I do paint. You know, any way you can get these things out, the more cathartic experiences you have, the better for you, because these things are going to give you you could paint the darkest thing you have, but after you put it on the canvas or on paper or whatever, you're going to be like, well, that's not there anymore. Let's find another problem.
Releasing.
Right. Yeah. See what I'm saying? That's the thing.
Speaking about the comedy, do you have a show coming up soon, or?
I do. I have a show every Thursday night in Grand Terrace at JB's Lighthouse.
Okay.
It's the address is 22400 Barton Road, Grand Terrace, California 92314. Yeah, that's it. 92313. No, I'm sorry, 92313. And it's every Thursday 9:00.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the company we work with is called Howling Dog Entertainment.
Okay.
So we tend to put on a lot of shows, especially at the once a week show, that like the comedy shows and stuff like that. And we also.
So is it a variety? Is it just you, or is it a variety of comedians?
Oh no, it's always a variety of comedians.
Mm-hmm.
We always have new guys in every time we come out.
Mm-hmm.
We also do a food drive with the show, because like I said, because of my mental illness, it's made me understand that I needed help. Everybody should have a helping hand. And if I can help, I can help. So I run a food drive. We've already collected 45 pounds of food over the last 2 months.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
You know, and we try to find things. We're trying to figure out how to get donations for clothing and things like that, because mentally ill people a lot of times are on the street. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just one of those things. Then that's one of those things where you don't ask for help. That's an extreme where you can end up.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're in a hospital and you're in that mood and you're depressed, you tend to shy away, or you don't eat, or you don't do those. When you do those things, that makes you stay longer, because you're not healthy. You're fighting the wave. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. You have to be able to help everybody, or at least try, right? Yeah. So that's what I try to do. I try to bring laughs, and I try to bring some food.
Yeah, definitely that chill factor of helping someone, and they're sharing their emotions with you, connecting with you through the good deed. Definitely is going to recharge you. Absolutely. I always say that love regenerates the heart. I just feel that the more that people have shown me love, it just builds me up.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about, that safety net.
You surround yourself by people who do that.
You don't have family, find friends. You don't have friends, Find homeless kids. I don't know. Find people that you can be happy with. You know, don't
an animal, a
dog, cat, bird. I have a friend that has an iguana. That thing doesn't move, but he loves it and it loves him. I'm sure it does. You know what I mean? Find the love, man. Find the connection.
Yeah, it generates the art. Definitely gives you faith and hope and all these things for at least, you said not so much for the future, for right now.
Absolutely.
You know, because that in itself will scare a lot of people to even try, because they're thinking too far ahead.
Absolutely.
Or what they don't have instead of appreciating what we do have.
Yeah.
And that'll conclude our show for today. We thank you for tuning in. Hopefully we have raised some awareness now on the topic of suicide. You've had the experience of Adrian, a couple of experiences that Ralph and I have talked about. You know some of the trigger symptoms. You know a few of the depression disorders. There's a lot out there.
Absolutely.
Remember
Actually,
you have to go and get help. Go ahead.
Actually, you can find, we're going to post these videos on the Raising Awareness Now site, and also on SoundCloud. If you type in Raising Awareness Now, you can listen to it via MP3, you know, on your phones, or you're going to watch this on YouTube. We're going to have the link, and don't be afraid to share your story with us if you feel you need to, or any tips on the down low, anything that we have 2 more shows, so we encourage you to reach out via that email, monavisionlive@gmail.com, or hit the Facebook, or if you're in desperate need now, definitely call the number.
Yeah. Definitely call 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-8255, a suicide prevention hotline where you can talk about any of the problems that you're going through and take that first step of seeking treatment, of preventing getting to the point of suicide, and hopefully it will help you get past that steep hill that you're climbing. We thank you for tuning in. Once again, this is Raising Awareness Now. I'm Jay Antonio.
Can I say just one thing real quick? To those people who are suffering, the shame that comes with it doesn't exist. Please don't let that be the reason that you don't get help. Take it from me, it's better to be alive and have learned a couple lessons than to not be alive at all and not see tomorrow and learn a new lesson. Really, really try to get help. If you don't feel like that's the way to do it, talk to someone in your family so at least they know, in case they feel it's getting to that point, that they can save your life. Whether you want to be alive or not, you have to try. If you're done, I'm sorry. I know it hurts. I can't stop you, but I think it's better if you see tomorrow. Maybe it'll be better.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we
guys.
appreciate
Thanks.
that.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thanks for coming,
Ralph.
Adrian.
Jay,
Appreciate it. I'm Jay Antonio. This is
Ralph Nervous.
Adrian Lopez.
Thank you, and you guys have a great night.